And if the
We'll
little,
set it where they're not, like where
give
it's
you
not
static for
facing
being
out.
late,
Oh,
tell
no,
them
they're
I'll
okay.
zoom out.
They'll be out there till about 8 o'clock.
That's fine.
Thank y'all.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Thank you, Alex.
See ya.
Let's just run through a little administrative stuff before we run through. What I gave you guys and gals was a handout that the people who came to brief the mayor had about the parks. It should be the last thing. The second thing underneath your agenda was the meeting minutes that the city secretary had her staff pull out from our very first meeting. But our secretary obviously did a much better job that went with it. There is a memo from 2009, the previous city manager. For those of you that didn't go to the Monday special meeting, one of the issues that's come out of the audit committee on the insolvency is that the professional fees and legal fees just blew through the roof outside the budget. There is a document that I gave you folks, so if once we get going, until the city council fixes the current process, please don't call the city attorney. Please don't call in professional services that we don't get permission from Andy or Sherry or the mayor.
I think that
We
we
don't-
should go through you anyways, being that you're.
How do we want to work that?
Chain of command.
Yeah, you're the chain of command.
Chain of command.
Okay, so I don't think that the approval is required. In fact, one of the things that I would like to do, in talking with Sherry today, with the exception of the first first 5 items on the agenda that's required by the city ordinance that was passed in the, I think, November timeframe, what I'd like to do is have, after the citizens' comments in the future, have our agenda have president's comments, vice president's comments, secretary's comments, which would include the review of the meeting minutes, and then have the treasurer to go through a status both on the water fee collection account, and once we get our fundraising started, the status of our fundraising and where we're at. Yesterday morning, Janelle and Michelle sat down with Laura, and first thing she handed us was a $1,400 bill. Did we get any
Yeah, I'm still
updates?
researching, because that was a collection agency, so.
Now, that's the bad news. The good news is that we do have $4,000 and some dollars that we could reimburse the city for whatever that
Almost 4,400.
that money was there, so we'll go with it from there. Hopefully y'all had a chance to go through and do your homework on the agenda, or the bylaws. I wished I'd have taken the time to type on a Word document to put it in there, but I'll take any of the inputs if you have it tonight, and then do that, and then shotgun it out. There's some things in there that I want to go over and get y'all's concurrence. I have asked Mr. Miller to put on tomorrow night's agenda, and you'll see that we're going to, in the new business, to be in compliance with the second paragraph of the bylaws. It says, when possible, the director shall include one or more members from either the Parks and Recreation Department. It doesn't tell you what the other portion is, so that needs to be fixed. But my recommendation is to make Alex one of our directors, so we'll grow to 8. In that paragraph also, it says that the city county, well, that made a lot of sense. It should say, I think, the city council may appoint a non-voting council liaison person who will have no vote, serve only for the purpose of communication with the city council and or manager or staff. I'd like to delete all of that, and myself, and in my absence, Cindy can be that liaison. In fact, I'm going to ask the mayor to allow me during the citizens' comment tomorrow night to plead our case to the citizenry that we need help. We need help with labor, we need help with volunteers, we need help with resources, i.e. money, to get going.
There's some big organizations like
Right.
SAWS that put money everywhere. There's no reason
So
we can't.
if you did make your input or your changes or whatever, If not, then we'll put it on the agenda as we go downstream. Because I think I said at the last meeting, that I think we need to know what we can do, what we can't do, and prevent any of us from going to jail. We got that. Sarah. The Sarah proposal ties in, and you didn't get a copy of that because I did enough copying at home on my own. So I'll put this out here for you to look at. What they're basically saying to do is out in front of the Civic Center to put in a holding pond. They would have to go to TxDOT to get approval, and then they would take a flow from that holding pond into the bar ditch at a rate not to exceed what the land was doing prior to the building of that facility. One of the PhDs also said that they could put little green belts through that concrete that was out there, and then an additional hole in the back to catch the runoff from the building. But when I met the athletic director for the Floresville Wildcats, he said he's got the equipment, he's got the people, and he's got the legal liability insurance to do things. And in talking with the mayor, if we get a plan, and if we've got the finances and the volunteer people to do stuff, we can go to the city council and get their blessings and giddy up and go. That brings me into one of the things I would like to get from you folks tonight is I'd like a volunteer in each of the following. I'd like to get a point of contact boss for fundraising. Not to include our secretary, our treasurer, or myself, because I think we'll be busy. I need a project manager that once we get a project going, to work with the resource on the solicitation side of the house. So if we could get, Cindy said she would do, you want the projects or you want the?
I'll do the fundraising.
Okay, great. So then all I need is somebody to do the projects. And basically what that would mean is that at these meetings, once the council appoints Alex, then we can marry our capability. We're gonna have a list. We'll prioritize, hopefully we can prioritize this list tonight and then match it with the cities. As you know, things could fall out that we might not be able to do what the highest priority is because of cost, but we might be able to do the third, fourth, or fifth one based upon whatever kind of monies. Laura explained to me that, and to Janelle, that she believes that the philosophy behind the ordinance that took the dollar from the water connections was to have monies so as we can go out and do matching. So we gotta have money to get money. So on that side of the house, this meeting that I went to last night with Wilson County is being incorporated now in the Sarah plan. And one of the things they pointed out for us, they showed some new soccer fields on the other side of the river. And I pointed out that I think you probably mean it ought to be up here by the Civic Center. And then an extension of the bike and hike trail along that railroad right away, all the way out to the San Antonio River. Now, I don't know who's gonna be responsible for maintaining it. But if I could get somebody to honcho the prioritizations on the projects list, then our work's gonna be easier to do because there's fundraising that's gotta be done. You know, I'm not gonna cook brownies, I get my wife to do that, and do a bake sale, whatever we gotta do. If we can get the entertainment books, for instance, and sell entertainment books. You know, once you get a certain amount, you know, we did fundraising in the squadron that I was commanding in Tucson when they came back from the desert, and we completely funded the whole steak and beer, everything else that we ended up doing for the guys and gals that went over to fight the war for us. So I got those two done. And then I need a motion from the floor to nominate Alex, the Floresville Recreation and Parks Department Supervisor, to become a director. And tomorrow night, the agenda items, the mayor and Mr. Miller are on to nominate Alex. The wigs have been greased with the city manager. So if I can get a motion in a second.
Motion.
I second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Any conversation? That's what I thought. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Okay,
Okay, who's gonna be project manager? We need to.
I need a project manager.
I'll get on it.
Thomas Smith?
Yeah, I'll get on it. Just tell what needs to be done, how it needs to
Okay.
be done, and.
Well, let's go to the last thing and then we'll call it quits. And we'll try to hold these things to an hour as we go through it. I've got handouts if you want to see it.
Doug,
Sir?
excuse me, if you're gonna be appointing these people to authoritative positions within the board, you don't wanna, since it's on there as an action item, you don't wanna make a motion to appoint these people?
No, I'm just looking for volunteers.
Oh, okay, alright, just double checking.
He can fire us.
This is the last agenda with the previous mayor's wellness initiative, PowerPoint presentation, and then a summary of a 300-something page San Antonio River Authority plan. That's being revised, like I said, last night at the meeting. As we speak, they have contracted, they're doing aerial cartography down to a foot. So there's gonna be all kinds, and I was telling the mayor that maybe we can get access and replace this old mosaic going with it, but that's here. This one is for you. You may have already gotten it, I didn't even look at it. It's possible to get grants, and Cindy probably could stand it. You can review the meeting that I went to last night. And when you were asking the question, I think this, anyhow, somewhere in here, it gives you the line number for the restoration department. This came out of the audit stuff from last year. I would also like to point out, I think you were at the meeting last year when M&S gave the briefing. This is the M&S engineering report. Inside their report, there's like 5 pages on the parks. And their prioritization for this Parks Foundation. Bathroom facilities should be upgraded. And the good news is that the engineers also gave size of the cities and the usage to whatever, so that we can tie that with the project. Thomas, I'll leave that with you. There's some notes that I made in
Is
here.
it Spanish?
Well, I can delegate. I can delegate.
I'm just kidding.
One of the things that I've been talking with Sherry today, the city secretary, my personal goal for what we're gonna do this year is to relieve the workforce and the city's financial side of the house, everything except their salary, their compensations, whether it be their medical, all the other kind of stuff. And to get the donations, get the whatever it is that we can get the fundraising done, so as to provide support for and fix things for the citizenry. The previous mayor's wellness initiative may have been all well tended, but I think right now, our charter should be to get the finances to relieve the burden off of the city budget, especially with the eyeballs that's been on them now. When we talk about irrigations, I had asked Alex on our tour, he worries about the piece of equipment growing legs. Can we sink a shallow well? How much water? I don't know how it takes for a city to permit to go get a shallow well out of the Wilcox, Carrizo, or through Evergreen, however all that works out. But all of the fields, to include, Lou even talked about 10 years ago how beautiful the pecan orchard was in Pecan Park. And for those of you like me from the south, pecan works too. But irrigation on the ball fields, safety of the kids. Alex even had mentioned, and I think that's where I got it from, about why would we want to spend good money if we don't resolve the sinkholes issue out there. The mayor has provided a glimpse to a piece of property in Northcrest that might serve as an alternate for some soccer fields. Well, the city council had the TxDOT engineer come in, and the city council is concerned with the safety of the kids on Saturdays. So it might very well be that one of the projects that we could undertake would be to develop that North Crest property into a Suckerville, if you'd like to, ma'am. But I mean, to me, it's the little things. If we can find where the belly buttons are, whether it be the Texas Park and Recreation, whether it be USDA, but again, some of those that do grants, you have to have balancing or matching funds to get started. So on the fundraising side of the house, we gotta giddy up and go to know where we're gonna go and get those people who wanna do it.
But I think before we start that, I mean, we listed the priorities, but I think we need to make we need to put them in order what we want to do, make a plan, and then I think we need to then go to people. I think we need to then go to people, A, see what kind of grants or whatever we can do.
I agree.
Then go to people that might want to donate money, because there might be people that want to donate money. Before we start, I don't want to start doing a bunch of little fundraisers and all this kind of stuff, when we might have other things, avenues that we can take that might be a whole lot better. And I'd rather try and exhaust that first before we just start doing all this little stuff.
And I think expounding on what she said, when we do fundraisers, we should be able to tell them which specific project the fundraiser's for, rather than just the Thomas Foundation. This fundraiser, for instance, is so that we can raise money to renovate the bathrooms, or, or so on and so forth, because I think people are more apt to donate when they know exactly where their dollars are going.
I think she's right, and I think the first person we should be looking is Bridal or. Because he did mention some that, that we have to have.
But again, we gotta be able to explain
Right,
where.
That's
this
what
is gonna be
That's
spent.
the Northwest property.
That's very impressive right there. You know,
Okay, one of the things that I didn't put on here, I don't believe, maybe I did, yeah, I did. Remember I kept asking you guys on the and gals on the pictures, remember the trees?
Trees.
That 6-man department is responsible for cutting the grass along the right-of-way from Pecan Park to the river with a single tractor and an 8-foot shredder. They're responsible for cutting the lawns at the cemeteries. They're responsible for, and they get reimbursed from the FEDC for the skate park. The city now has responsibility to maintain the median from the city limits on 181 to 4 Points.
Yeah.
They're responsible to keep the bar ditches clean. Where they put in the sidewalk on the road from Four Corners back to the old 181 loop. Again, I'm not conversant yet with the city, so but beg pardon for my.
Yeah, coming down.
David.
So they have to keep all that cut. One of the projects that I think that we ought to do is try to reduce some of their extra stuff by getting monies to contract out some maintenance. Maybe in the fall, I was told that I shouldn't prune my trees except on the hottest day or the coldest day. So we can relieve some of the pruning because the city cemetery committee has folded.
Okay, 4 Points is 97 intersection?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, and we have to maintain all those trees and everything that HEB paid and TxDOT paid to, okay,
They
why
cut the
is
grass.
that?
No, just
Well,
the
they,
median.
no, they have to cut all those bushes and they have to weave in and out.
That's
and
actually
weed.
city land. All those
Okay,
little
but-
strips.
Okay, I know it's already done, but that should have never been.
And then the city council voted last year
Yes,
to
because,
take on, to help out TxDOT, because TxDOT was cutting back. And
and return,
They didn't need to put all that,
No,
they
but-
could have made it nice without putting,
no, but what
How
they got
many
in
trees?
return, if you've noticed all those, like over there where the 2181s meet. going
yeah,
on,
181 and
all
business
that
181,
greenery and
that's
stuff.
what they did for us.
And you see it, I think, in front of the event
Oh,
center,
I know.
and
Yes,
against
I
the
know.
fence of that. And then the apartments over here by Coloma, they
Yeah.
did all that little,
Talking to the
that's the
Arbor Day
trade.
Society about helping
And they're
for
gonna
grant
maintain
money
that.
to maintain it.
But
it's all.
that's where
Like the old-
I love brainstorming.
It's
And,
good.
and that like I said, my charter would be is if whatever we can reduce the financial burden. Every time I hear anybody at the city council, at the previous regular scheduled meeting, Mr., I started to say Engelhardt, gave a briefing, and they were talking about the speed limit on 97 by the Masonic. So when he got up to leave, I said, "Can I have your card?" He's a TxDOT engineer. But right after that, then the gals from the Junior Catholic Daughters gave a presentation, and the city recognized their volunteership. So now I've got the Floresville Wildcats athletic director. I've yet to talk to Mr. Hopkins with the Little League, but I'm trying to network everybody that plays a part in the use of the work for or do whatever. So that's why I was saying to reduce, because she's gonna have the burden of keeping up with her records. She's got the burden of the monies. And I'm gonna try to do the liaison between the city, the mayor, and do what have you. So the project dude, once we get this thing prioritized, run with it.
Mr. Jones?
And then the money dudette, man, whatever you can start doing right now,
Do you want me to look into grants as well then? Rather than just fundraising?
whatever you can do.
Texas Parks and
Anything
Wildlife.
dealing with getting money.
See, this is what Councilman Miller had said, because they made a deal about 181 and stuff. He had said, well, let's try to get HEB and Walmart to sponsor certain areas of 181. And that's it. You remember that, when you were saying that? And, you know, maybe these big businesses can sponsor certain areas, you know, either by them doing it or they're paying somebody to do it. And I don't know if we can do that or not.
Well, all over Texas, you see those little blue signs, maintained by, you know, the
Yeah, that's mostly
NCO.
for trash pickup though, it doesn't include mowing and stuff, we need to get it more.
Or maybe they can pay
But
somebody
they,
else.
HEB already has somebody, so does Walmart, they already have their services that come in and mow and everything, I'm like, okay, you're there, can you just, keep going?
Yeah, I mean, you know,
Because
because
it takes them a lot of time, I've seen them mow, and to go in and doing your yard,
not
it takes a
necessarily
lot
them
of
do it,
time.
but pay somebody else to do it.
It takes a lot of time to do in between all those bushes
And
and.
then the other thing dealing with the daily in and out operations, you know, how many lawnmower blades? How many quarts of oil? How many gallons of gasoline? Like I said, they've got one tractor with an 8-foot shredder, and I understand the city's got but one mechanic. When the pipe burst over there at the complex, guess who fixed it? Alex, not the water department. Alex went out there and did it. So again, to me, all those type things that we can reduce the load on the labor force, if we can cut back their operational expenses and free up dollars, then maybe those dollars can be used to employ another individual and grow their force, or maybe even provide the funding to get the head of the department back in.
Quick comment on, in line with funding, I know the city owns a property. Can a entity such as HEB sponsor a building, let's say to do a restroom, to where the whole restroom is either matched, or they provide all the funds for, say, a brand new restroom, and they get to put their name on
They're
it?
donated by HEB.
Right.
Yes, they can.
And that is great advertising, especially like in places like Pecan Park and the River Park. There's a lot of public exposure there.
Well, when I did my tour, Alex said that those signs for the different business corporations that are on the outfield, they pay an advertising fee to deliver.
Right.
But again, I don't know what the numbers are, because again, I don't have that contract.
I mean, those banners and.
Yeah, all the
Sign, you know, it says
It's
buy your
not that
shoes here.
much, yeah.
But still, that's, and even, when I was talking to Michelle about our schedule conflict that we had from last week, she even pointed out, and if I misquote you and smack me with it back into your pencil, said people may not be able to buy their loaf of bread and their quart of milk, but you put a rodeo on, they're gonna go out there and they're gonna drink.
Yeah.
Well, another project, and I don't know if I put it in here, yeah, I did, expansion improvement of the riding arena behind the Civic Center. Well, that includes fixing it to where it would be upstate to hold Floresville rodeo or do whatever.
A cover.
And even the mayor pointed out that her grandchildren come home with cockleburs or sand spurs because they're using a makeshift soccer field, just the civic center side of the whatever. So these are all types of people that are using the facilities that we can touch base with to get the manual labor that we're gonna need. But
Yeah, I had
we
a-
need plans.
But like the gentleman mentioned, we could use Coors Light maybe to go and do something like that, or Budweiser or somebody like that, because you know, it's
Well,
alcohol.
on the legal part, there's legal issues,
Yeah.
so that you'd have to clear through the city attorney. Because I know when we try to get sponsorships at the event center, we can't do it.
Yeah.
Like we had talked about getting a sign out in the front that says event center and have them sponsor. It was legality.
Just put a
I don't know
red
the
dot.
details, but
Just put a red dot like in South Carolina.
See, going back to the time I was on the 4A and the civics, the rodeo arena was being built. I had actually had the judging, what is the judging booth that's there, okay? The welding shop at the high school built that, and they did it free, okay? They were willing to, I even had the welding teacher who was willing to make like, benches or, anything that they needed, that was willing to,
Right.
and, did it, the only thing is, and actually most of that pipe that was used to make that judging booth was donated by, somebody in an oil company.
no, it was donated by my brother.
Okay,
It was from Mr. Hayden.
yeah, okay,
Because he
exactly.
worked for Mr. Hayden.
So I mean, so it was actually, I tried to, cut costs and try to get the students involved. And then there was supposed to been actually, there's a lot more to do. Then we were supposed to try to set up that during a rodeo event, that we could use, some students to do certain things like pick up trash and stuff like that, And we had it all planned, but I was taken off the board, so.
Well, that's
I
why
don't know
these
anymore after that, but I was hoping, I was disappointed that a sign or plaque was never put out there, saying who built it and,
High school.
stuff like that.
Well, that's why these brainstorming sessions, to me, I think, is a better way to run things on. And when people volunteered, like the two of you have, to run those things, to working with the rest of us, we ought to be able to get up and go. So I'm 18 minutes over my goal of an hour meeting. So what's our most pressing priority on this list?
Ladies' rooms.
Deleted.
Apparently we're nasty.
I think the bathrooms, well, but irrigation's.
But irrigation is gonna take a lot more money than just
Yeah.
irrigation.
Well, we don't have to do everything together.
Well, and then people see the bathrooms first and
Right.
realize, okay, you're working on
Right.
something.
Okay, so we're gonna do, is everybody in agreement, so restroom renovations would be the number one priority?
I don't know about,
Okay, what's most important, river park facilities?
The land is already.
But.
my
okay,
question is,
Just,
not trying to change something, my question is, did the river park up there with Civic Center, they were making a trash wall for falls for walking at the meetings, and they can use the restroom there too. I mean, or at the Civic Center where the baseball is.
I mean, you could turn one.
Make it a bigger place to walk.
Okay, I'm losing control here.
I'm sorry.
Okay, we're gonna do restrooms first.
Okay.
Which of the restrooms we're gonna do first? The river park, there's two facilities down there, right?
I
Each
think
of
we
those.
take on the river park
I
first,
need to do a part.
Okay, so river park will be 1A,
and then Pecan.
Pecan,
And then takes care of
and then loading.
all that.
Okay, so we're gonna do irrigation system second?
And irrigation systems,
I
Or are we
say
gonna
Pecan.
do
Well, we
sinkhole?
need
I
to
would-
get some bids
I would do
and
the
figure out
civic
what we're
center.
doing on the
I actually
irrigation
think-
I
though.
tell you what, let's table this, take that back, and go through it.
Well, because I think we need numbers on the irrigation, because there's a lot of different things that you can do with irrigation. It depends, how elaborate we're gonna get with this irrigation.
Well, that's why
What, I mean,
our
are we gonna do
project,
soakers around the tree, what are we doing? We want
see,
phosphorus soakers?
that's where our project, Kathy,
I think that.
can make those definitions.
Yeah.
And I've got some contracting background, so when we actually get money can start going out, I'll help
See what
write
it
the
needs.
RFP.
Because you talk about tubing and
Well,
you're talking
exactly.
everything. Wiring for the controllers, you're talking.
Right,
So remember, we're gonna have a wish list,
Yes,
right.
and we're gonna have an empty pocket.
yeah.
So somewhere along the line, we may have to, we may not be able to get a near complete irrigation system.
But you can always add on to them.
And this one right here is good,
Yeah,
whoever made this, but I only have one suggestion here.
Only one.
These soccer fields, they can also be turned into football fields in different
There's a big
seasons.
football field there.
Yes, I understand that, but,
Yeah, yes, they can.
uh-huh,
But they
or
play
even
soccer,
add
they
a
play
baseball
soccer
hat.
year
You
round.
can put it-
okay, and
yeah.
football?
Football
Just temporary.
goes from usually July to December.
And that's what I'm just saying, you know,
Yeah.
Remember, don't be parochial on how it's been done from today to the past. Right now, we've got a green light until they put the handcuffs on me to
Well-
dream the impossible dream
If you have
and
a-
then get the money to go.
Free them up there.
It's like I was just telling the mayor, this year, you know, like if we look in this kind of a concept, okay? You covering everything that we're talking about, the soccer field on 97, and then instead of spending time and money and trying to figure out why we have sinkholes and how to just go in this direction. For the long term,
That's a decision that we'll have to make a presentation
yes.
to the city council and make them make those decisions. You know, this is a grandiose plan right here. Right now, there's no way in Hades.
Who's gonna put this, who's gonna make this?
but she said she found it in the.
It was,
city?
it was
FEDC
hanging in
office.
the FEDC
No.
office.
The reason I'm saying, because you know what? When I just mentioned a while ago about the civic center, the park up to the river, you can put this with the field where they're not even using. And you still have a big track, you have the restrooms, you have everything where,
The FEDC owns that land though, don't they?
Yes.
The civic center land, where the city owns this
Is that what,
land. That's
103
the
acres?
biggest difference.
But this is gonna be donated?
if they're not having rodeos every weekend up there, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
But that's again, where, when we get to that stage of the game, though, like I mentioned about getting the Wildcats, the Little League, and everybody else together, we gotta get the 4A and 4B involved with it also.
Mhm.
You don't.
You know, like right now, Alex is cutting and maintaining the skate park, and the FEDC reimburses the city for that service.
Mhm.
And the same thing with the Singing Frog. So, and they're keeping this grass out here cutting it. So again, right now, let's keep brainstorming.
Mhm.
Uh,
Because if I was gonna spend this money here, I would go over it and say.
But see, the other thing, Thomas, that I see with this is that we don't have to lock and load and do the entire
Right.
project right now unless the
Oh, no,
economy of
yeah.
scale says
Section by
to
section.
do that.
And get civic organizations in, just like Lions Club
Well, like he
donated the
said.
park at the River Park. They donated the actual children's park. You find organizations like that that'll donate, okay, so I'll donate a field and you dedicate it Lions Field
Sure.
or a Rotary, basketball court or whatnot. And you bite them off a piece at a time that way.
We already know that the Wildcats is already suited up, that they could take care of their own,
Yeah.
Well, he's already volunteered, he told me, he
He's
says,
just waiting
Doug,
for the
I've
green
got the
light."
equipment, I've got the land movers, I've got this, I've got, and
And
the thing that
insurance.
really got my attention was, I've got the liability insurance to cover whatever I break or whatever anybody gets hurt.
Whatever it is.
He says, alls I need to know is what you want and when you want it done. And that's when the mayor told me, they gotta have a plan. And I guess one of the heartburns with the Little League was that the Little Leagues never presented the city with a plan on how to fix, do, whatever, to get it done and get it approved. And as we've seen, whatever I did with my little blue folder, this foundation's last meeting was December of 2010. They didn't do anything to include their paperwork that we've got a $1,400 bill. So we've got some energetic people here.
Dreaming.
Let's keep up dreaming. And if anytime y'all need to have a special meeting because you found something that's really hot, all we have to have is 72-hour notice according to our charter.
And my
Yeah,
question here in the restrooms, since there's a problem with the ladies' restrooms, are we gonna add more seats, or what are we gonna do?
That'll have to be to be determined.
We've got to
One
determine.
of the meeting items last night with this group, they had a subset that with the clean water, they're looking at doing restroom renovation. So this might be a potential, but again, I think they do the matching on the grants. Judge Quinney was at that meeting last night, and whether or not we get any help from the county, but they're being incorporated in this updated plan from Sarah.
And that building's so old,
Mhm.
we don't need to add more.
Mayor, does the city have a grant writer?
We have one that they hire out in the hospital.
Okay.
So we're gonna be looking because we
Makes a
are.
big difference on grant successes. Have a good grant writer.
And we're
Well, it's just like with our
looking for
RFP
some
and contracts, we need to make sure that we've got a lawyer that's got some contractual expertise. Because we want to make sure that, one, we have hold harmless agreements within whatever we're doing.
Yes. And that's something I was gonna point out, like our priorities of those lists, make sure we take care of safety items, liability stuff first, before restrooms.
Well, see, we could do a project, for instance, if those Catholic girls would go out with us and they knew how to use come-along, we could get them to go out there, we'd stretch that fence. I mean, that wouldn't take anything. And that's what I'm talking about when we network and the public knows that we're here and we're earnest about doing it. And they see us out getting the back of our neck sunburn a little bit and getting dirty with them. You know, the Lions Club, I mean, y'all people have said you've been members of the Lions Club.
The
We get
Knights
the
of
little league
Columbus.
people out
The
there.
Knights of Columbus, and Alex belongs to them.
The Catholic
Big
ladies,
group.
like I said, I mean, it's possible that we could relieve some of the labor-intense things, like Mondays, say, okay, hey, Legion, do us a favor, somebody got a pick-em-up truck, go pick the trash up out of Pecan Park for us. That'd free up whatever length of time. You know, that's where we, in our brainstorming, as long as we don't lose track of it, and keep taking your notes, and every time you think of something, it's just like when you were talking about the use of the radio thing. Being, if that could bring in the revenues, then if we could get whoever, you know, HEB or Whataburger or whatever to put and name it Floresville Whataburger Rodeo Stand, giddy up and go. Then all we gotta do is get the legal process to ensure that what we do with the FEDC property, we're not in conflict of any kind of law. And that's again where we have to do any kind of those questions, we gotta run it back to the city manager.
How much money does Tractor Supply give, like for the rotary?
I have no idea. As far as I know, I don't know where any kind of records have been kept.
So, okay, so how are we gonna do our safety first and our restroom renovations?
I think you have to renovate, or you have to investigate on the sinkholes and the safety stuff, though. It's not
But
like
the
we can
safety
just
as
go
far
out
as the
and
fence,
fix it.
you know, the
Oh,
fencing,
yeah.
you know, the little
The little
stuff that can be
stuff.
fixed.
Right,
I mean,
and I've seen
that's-
stuff like
because-
electrical boxes, like at the Con Park, some electrical boxes will be open, they're missing a cover plate, stuff like that, where a kid stick their finger in and zap. And they're gonna go against the city, and that's gonna be more money out of the city that we don't need to
Mayor,
have.
did-
And a lot of that playground also needs repairing because supposedly, one of those slides that kind of crisscrosses or something, the kids are getting tangled up at the top because either the metal is up or something, then at the bottom. I know one of my granddaughters got cut in the back and bottom because when she went down, it was the lip was up. So you know how the kids tend to cross over like this instead of just
Right.
coming right out of
Yeah.
it? That's why she cut herself, because she crossed over.
That reminds me of the cables down at River Park that go through the posts around the
Exactly.
roadways. There's a couple of those that are totally untensioned and laying down loose, I've seen people trip on those.
Yeah.
And that's not a
Okay,
big money issue.
project coordinator, that's, those things that the current city recreation department through Alex.
Well, and
Touch
I was
base
gonna
with them.
say, those little safety issues like that, the people using those fields, Wildcats and Little League, would have no problem showing up on a, you know, Saturday work day to help get it done.
I think that's a good
Those
idea.
are low-cost issues, but if they're not fixed, they can cost a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
And
Well, it's
that's-
just like that
that's
fence
the
that I
thing.
showed you.
Yeah.
I mean, I just see a kid going over there and head first into it, and thank the Lord, it's the bottom weave that's like that,
That's
instead of
right.
like that.
Exactly. Very good.
Okay, so we'll have at least one agenda item,
Okay.
and that'll be actually two. For the next meeting minute will be, y'all do your homework and rewrite the bylaws, scribble on, do whatever. And if you wanna go ahead and just send me your changes, then I'll try to collate it in Word, and then I think in Word I can put the suggested changes in different colors, and I'll assign a color to each of us, and that way we'll coordinate and work it back. And then please do the prioritization, and if we we get all that done, then we can fire that, Tom, administrative, on Janelle's, email, on the handout that we got, it's in error. It's FELPSIS versus, because when I shotgunned out the meeting change request, that was the only non-delivery I got. Was hers.
Yes, Phelps's.
Phelps's?
You're one of the only people that don't have one of those. I make
Okay,
a
it's
motion-
now
They didn't go to Ruffle Feathers.
7:31.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
So do we do a
Quick picture.
pledge allegiance in ten?
We already did that.
We're done now.
So when's the next meeting?
Third Wednesday next month.
Okay, so every third Wednesday?
Yes, sir.
Unless we have a conflict.
And the more I find, if you guys know people, and y'all know people that are belly button, I'm trying to keep a business card list. I even thought about trying to go talk to somebody about doing some business cards for us. Because I know last night there was more PhD holders than any schools I ever
Okay,
did.
well, one of them is Daryl Brownlow, he's on there,
PhD.
he's on the Sarah.
Yeah, Daryl's awesome too.
Our directors, for the group that I was with last night, is David Brownlow, PhD.
No, that's
Daryl.
Daryl,
It's
that's
Daryl.
Daryl.
Oh.
That's
I don't have my
Daryl.
glasses
He's
on.
very good friends with us.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, he also.
And his wife is the one that works for
John
HEB,
John Felder.
director.
Clear.
Clear.
And Daryl knows the oil.
That's my southern
Yeah.
rule.
Only